Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedom to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalio, and this video is on the Mark of the Beast prophecy, which is a microchip. All right, so here's another update that has happened, which is Australia rolls out digital ID system with plans for carbon tracking and social credit scores. Now, why is it that this is important regarding the prophecy? Well, it's because these digital identification systems are literally needed as a part of the system to usher in the mark of the beast, which is a microchip. And I say that because these digital IDs, as they are being promoted and they're being pushed worldwide, all around the world, will function, or would rather allow the microchip to function the way they intend it to function, right? Because in the prophecy, in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16, it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads," right? So who's going to cause it? The wicked elite of Esau, Edom. Who's Edom? These so-called white people. It's their kingdom today, all right? So it is their ruling class that will cause the entire world, right, to take this microchip. That's their intention, okay? And it's going to be for everyone. It don't matter who you are, social status, nothing like that, all right? They want the entire world to be microchipped. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So the prophecy has to do with buying and selling. So unless you have that microchip, which is the mark of the beast, you won't be able to live in society. You won't be able to go about and buy food. You won't be able to go to the grocery store and buy food. You won't be able to conduct business as well, because you'll have to be a part of the system to be able to conduct business, right? Because they're going to be they're going to go hand in hand, right? Microchip transactions, okay, by way of buying, and the system is going to be set up from sellers to facilitate the microchip, right? And you know, there are some places such as like Whole Foods that already accepts microchip payments, right? So how do they accept microchip payments? Well, of course, information is stored on it, right? The microchip must have information stored on it in order to operate, right? And as such, they are heading towards a digital identification system, okay? Because a microchip is it's technology, right? And you know, it is implanted into the hand, and from there they simply swipe it like a credit card. But there's more to it, right? Because it possesses more of your information on it. And so when you look at what's going on in the world and what's being pushed very heavily, you have these central bank digital currencies, which is the new digital payment system that they intend, right? And they're doing away with cash. And then these digital IDs, okay, will store all of your information on them. And this is the end goal of the WEF, right? And the wicked elite of Esau, Edom. The WEF have shown their intentions for how the digital identity will operate. So your digital identity will consist of all of these things that you see on the screen right here. Okay, look at all of that and you can clearly see, right, what they intend to put on it. Okay, and so you can see financial services, to open bank accounts to carry out online financial transactions. So your bank accounts, you know, we all have one, is going to be tied to your digital ID, and it's going to be an all-for-one use, right? Your digital ID will just be there to be used for all of these things. And as such, they will simply transfer your digital ID information to your microchip, and then boom, that's it right there. It's an all-for-one use. And once again, there are individuals in this world who literally are microchipped and are making payments with it. But the prophecy says that it has to be a worldwide event. And as such, that's why all of these countries are developing digital IDs and central bank digital currencies, because that is how you get the entire world on it, right? On a mass scale kind of thing. So you have each country that is pushing out their own digital identity. And I will say this, because some people may say, oh well, when you look at this digital identity, it only has this and this on it, and then you look at this other digital identity and it has only this and this on it. Well, everything happens in stages, right? When you look at how it's all developing around the world, the digital IDs are at different stages for some countries. The central bank digital currencies are at different stages for different countries. But the end game goal is this: to have the digital identity and to have everything stored on it as an all-for-one use. And then it's going to be placed on the microchip. All right. So with that, we have Australia rolls out digital ID system with plans for carbon tracking and social credit scores. And Australia isn't the only country. Out here in Jamaica, they have launched their digital ID, the National Identification System. You have in other places as well that they have launched a digital ID, such as India, Singapore. All right. The European countries are building up their digital ID as well. And then little do some people even know, even though it's not like at the complete forefront, in America, they are slowly but surely bringing it in, certain digital IDs, right? Like here in from this article right here, where it says Google Wallet adds digital ID support in yet another US state, right? So while it is that people are focused on the many distractions in the world, such as these celebrities, the newest one is Jay-Z now, right? So the newest one is Jay-Z, which is a distraction, right? They're just ushering in the system slowly but surely over time. And really, it really isn't even that slow right now, because it's literally developing quite rapidly every single day, right? This is what this devil is doing. So it went from, so see, New Mexico is the latest state to let residents store their state IDs in Google Wallet, joining states like California, Arizona, and Georgia. While physical IDs are still required for law enforcement and age checks, more businesses and TSA checkpoints are using the NM Verifier app for smartphone-based verification. Google Wallet is also rolling out digital passport IDs, making travels through TSA checkpoints a bit smoother. And I mean, you have some form of digital ID already, right? Because your digital ID has to deal with your biometrics as well. And if you have a passport, I know my passport shows that I have a biometric ID, right? But also the push for Google Wallet, these different kind of payment systems, Google Wallet, Apple Pay, stuff like that. That's like a precursor, getting people used to the idea of it, getting people onto the system in a way, heading towards the fulfillment of this prophecy, right? So they're doing this kind of stuff just like under the table a little bit. I mean, it's out there, but most people really won't know about it, or people will just simply see it as just the next step in technology and will just simply join the system, right? But remember that the end game goal, right, the end game prophecy rather, is that they will launch the microchip, which is a mark of the beast, and then you won't be able to live life in society unless you have it. Okay, so with Australia, there has been a lot of eyes on Australia, because Australia has been moving quite rapidly with the system, right? There was many talks for several months about Australia going cashless, and then they had like the Australian citizens were feeling some type of way about it, because the citizens of the world, they're not when you look at what's going on right now, they're not fully accepting of a completely cashless society and all of these kinds of things. And the devil knows that. The devil Esau Edom knows that. So he knows, because he's the minority and the rest of the population is a majority, he has to slowly but surely bring things in. He has to do it in a very really a very manipulative kind of way, right? He has to sell you certain things with ulterior motives behind it, and that ulterior motive will be this microchip, right? And so we have that Australia is rolling out the social ID system. So the Australian government is making significant strides towards total digital surveillance and control with the Digital ID Bill, which combines 128 personal documents and indicators into a centralized government system, right? So Australia, they're moving towards that cashless society very quickly. Okay. And this right here, this article will just show you a little bit. How close are we to a cashless society? December 4th, 2024. Once upon a time, cash was king in Australia, but that's changed now. December 3rd, 2024, Commonwealth Bank unveiled its plans to charge a $3 withdrawal fee from January 2025, prompting many to ask if we're moving further into a cashless society. Australia's biggest bank has paused its plans in response to the public backlash to the proposal, right? And so what was happening in Australia is that you had like some banks in Australia, not like the major banks, but like some other banks that they said were more I think they call it like more like a boutique bank kind of situation, that those banks wanted to go cashless, right? And so that's what really started to bring attention to Australia moving towards a mostly cashless society, right? So are we moving even faster into a cashless society? While you can still pay with notes and coins, the rise of cards and contactless payments makes it seem like a cashless society is not that far away, and it's not, because it's the plan of the devil, right? This is the plan of the wicked elite of Esau Edom, okay? And the microchip, okay, first and foremost, it is the plan of Yahweh Shemishai to bring about this microchip. So we're seeing how, the devil that is created by the Lord, because the Lord controls all things, right? But we're seeing how he's using Esau Edom to bring in the system, and we're seeing it very clearly, right? The promotion of contactless payments, the rise of cards, the rise of mobile payments, that's what it's called, right? And when you look at the cell phone itself, right? The cell phone is something where people store everything on it. All of their personal information is on it, right? So then they're getting people used to also using their phone to make payments, right? In fact, cash makes up just 16% of payments, according to an analysis from Reserve Bank of Australia. So Australia is already mostly cashless. Only 16% of payments are done by way of cash. They're basically cashless, right? This is where they want it to go. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to. Oh, here's some information here. What's more is that cash use has been steadily dropping since 2007 as card transactions rise. The worldwide 2020 situation had an influence too, of course, with cash payments having in the 3 years to 2022, right? The entire system really became expedited, all right, during that 2020 situation. I remember when it was happening in 2020, I was watching, I think it was Bloomberg or something, and they kept on promoting, and these other financial news outlets, and they kept on promoting that they need to do away with cash, that the cash is this and the cash is that, and they're against cash and stuff like that, right? So it says, for example, Sweden was expected to become one of the first cashless societies in the world. The Central Bank of Sweden, Riksbank, says cash is rarely used but still important to consider. And of course, Sweden is mostly cashless. Sweden was the first place, to my knowledge, that really started to push the idea of people having microchips in their hand. And here it is from 5 years ago. All right. And then you had this from the nightly news. I mean, you can watch it yourself if you're really interested to. The idea of microchipping. So Esau Edom has been selling this to the masses for some time, right? So this is where it's all heading towards. Okay. So going back to this, it says this system is designed to streamline identification across various sectors such as banking and credit, and potentially extend to carbon usage, tracking, and social credit scores in the future. Well, we know what the future entails regarding these digital IDs because they show you here, right? And I don't know where exactly that carbon would fall into, okay? But it's, however it is that they're selling it, it's all a part of it, right? Earlier this week, the Australian government also implemented strict regulations regarding social media access. Children under 16 will now be banned from accessing social media, which many see as a precursor to more widespread bans for users of all ages. Critics warn that this could serve as a means of further controlling online discourse by enabling the government to restrict access to social media platforms at their discretion. Well, they'll have access to it because this digital ID, right, is launched by your government. And this digital ID, it shows you right here that it will include social platforms. All right. So it is a part of the control. Okay. And once again, different digital IDs at this point in time have they're at different stages, right? Of how they're operating, but they will all be the same one, right? Because that's the plans of the wicked elite of Esau Edom, their NWO agenda, right? You know what that is. All right. A one world this, a one world that, a one world currency, a one world government, a one world, and then of course the culling of the population so that they will have a firmer control, because for them, there are way too many people on earth for them to control. So they want to cull the population. All right. And they're going to be doing that very soon. All right. Social credit scores. The expanded Australian government digital ID system is rolling out in 4 phases in the coming year, which may overlap or be preceded by pilots. The digital ID bill passed this Australian Senate in April this year, and critics warn the growing push for carbon tracking and social credit scores in Australia presents significant threats to civil liberties and privacy. All right. In China, a social credit system has already been implemented and its potential for abuse is widely discussed. Citizens there face consequences ranging from travel bans to social ostracism if their scores fall too low, right? The social credit system in China, I do suggest that if you're interested that you do look it up. But basically it works like this. If you do certain things that are considered negative, your social credit score will get hit, right? Like I know that like for example, for like jaywalking, if you jaywalk, you lose points on your social credit score, right? And in China, for the places that have it, they have the cameras everywhere, every single place. So the police don't have to see it. Once you jaywalk, they'll see it and then they'll just track your social credit score. And then it will, when your social credit score is low, you won't be able to get certain jobs. You're not able to eat at certain places. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to conduct life in society in certain kinds of ways. So it really keeps people in check, right? That is a part of the control that Esau Edom is bringing in, right? Because, I mentioned the system and the parts of the system that they're implementing to bring about the microchip. But as well, you do know that the devil is bringing in a new, heavier level of slavery, right? And more perfect slavery system for them, right? For them to be able to control the people, right? Because, this microchip, when it's working and it has this digital ID with it, stored on it, and people have the microchip implanted in them, of course, they're going to be able to track your each and every single move. That's what they want to do. That's their intention, to have absolute and complete control over the people. And that goes into Esau Edom's God complex, right? In Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'll just start at verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, okay, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, shewing himself that he is God, right? So with this microchip technology, he will have more control over the world than ever before, right? To, put himself in a quote unquote more godlike state, right? To have absolute control over the people. I mean, as you wake up, he knows. You know what I'm saying? You go to the bathroom, he knows. You go and you eat, he knows. And this is all done from your home. He'll have complete and absolute control over you. And then whatever other devious things will come from the microchip, you know what I'm saying, that will occur, okay? Because you don't know if like they'll be able to just turn it off, or all kinds of other things, what kind of however it's made and what kind of things are made with it for it to, you know, how it affects the body and whatever else, you know, we'll have to wait and see, right? But the main point overall is that they are building the system to usher in the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, and then we'll just see how all other things happen. Because you do know that like even with this microchip, the prophecy says in Revelation chapter 16 and verse 2, it says, "And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image." So we do know that there are going to be some, you know, some, based off of the scripture, some terrible things that are going to happen to those that have the microchip, you know. Maybe it malfunctions, you know, it says a noisome and grievous sore, you know, we will see in the days to come. But all sorts of things are going to be happening with it, right? But the carbon tracking and all that kind of stuff, that's just additional information. But that's just what it is, right? The system is at hand. And the scriptures say in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 3, that the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come, it will not tarry, right? And from what I'm showing you, the main point of what I'm showing is that it is at hand. The systems are being put in place, which means that we're closer to our salvation than, you know, in the book of Romans, it says we're nearer to our salvation than we believed, right? Because the way that things are right now, and it's not just me that believes it, you know, the all of the brothers, the apostles, the elders, you know, that teach, you know, we are of one spirit, and, you know, I'm seeing the same sentiments go around that, yo, it's really just at this point in time where prophecies are at and the way how things are developed, it really just takes one major event for them to really like start things to really crack. You know what I'm saying? So we're very close to the end, man. And, you know, Lord willing, I'll be bringing out more information about this as time goes on, you know, until, you know, that famine of the word comes, which, you know, will be the time when we won't be able to prophesy anymore, you know? So, yeah, with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh, Shalom.